everyone. If you have been struggling to manage your growth or operations, you may have started looking for an ERP. You may already be pressed on time, and the last thing you may want to do is to increase overload for yourself. While you might see a lot of hope with the promises of an ERP, you may not be on board with the long, draining process of the ERP purchase. You are perhaps looking for quick fixes to your problems, such as top options for ERP for your industry. I'm your host, Sam Gupta from Elevate IQ, and today we are going to be learning why top ERP systems may not be best for you. We get this question a lot. Hey Sam, do you have a recommended list of top 10 ERP systems? I was looking to find an easier way to select an ERP for my business, and I was wondering if you could recommend the top 3 options for us. And my short answer almost always is, sorry, I wish I had access to such a list. Based on my comment, they will often argue that when we have such list for pretty much everything these days, why can't we have such a list for ERP? What makes ERP so hard to begin with? Do ERP consultants not recommend, so they would rather charge for such services? Well, ERP is one of the most complex machines you would have ever bought, including the largest machine on your shop floor. The only difference between an ERP and your machine is that you don't feel the complexity of an ERP just because it is invisible. To understand this better, let's take an example of a decision that we all may have experienced in our lives. If you remember how you shortlisted your school that you ended up attending, I'm pretty sure you stumbled across their rankings, and I'm sure you had considered them as a factor in your decision process. For example, if you applied to business schools, you may have noticed that Stanford, Wharton, or Harvard may top every chart out there. If your sole purpose was to brag about going to the top school, most likely you would select a school based on rankings. But if you asked anyone who was successful in their career after graduating from a business school, they would recommend assessing based on your needs and goals. In this scenario, the rankings actually have more chances of hurting your decision making than helping. While rankings serve a great purpose to quickly quantify a complex decision, they can't be the sole factor for your decision making, which is often the case, and that's why we typically don't endorse any list unless we know that the person utilizing them is qualified to use them. Even though this analogy applies to most scenarios that involve complex decision making, we most commonly see ERP consultants promoting rankings and ERP prospects asking for them. Or worse yet, basing their decisions solely based on rankings. While this approach would expedite your decision process, as in the case of selecting a school for your career, and may help with bragging, this approach may fall flat on its face when it comes to meeting your goals from your ERP. Although measuring outcome and building decision criteria may sound an easy task, it's extremely difficult with an ERP due to its complexity and expertise required to remove ambiguity from the needs. For example, if you have looked at the ERP checklist, they would mention requirements such as the ERP must support multi-entity functionality, AR, AP, or GL. Such a checklist would hardly be of any use, as most mainstream ERP systems would perhaps have this functionality. To find a suitable ERP for your business processes, you need requirements at a much deeper level, such as the customer and vendor hierarchies, the branch and entity structure, and how that might affect your licensing, and how easy is it to replace a part across all BOMs. These requirements are rarely part of the rankings, and even if they did, the rankings could be even more skewed, as not every factor in this list matter for every business. The rankings typically are very generic and without any context. By contrast, ERP implementation is very specific to the business requirements and requires an analysis based on the context. We have seen ERP implementation not delivering their desired results just because of one missing piece of functionality, such as the length of a part number. There could be several scenarios associated with each requirement, and you need to analyze at least the major ones that make or break an implementation. This analysis is not possible without detailed probing of your requirements. The rankings have the potential to recommend a completely unfit solution or eliminate a great potential option early on. In conclusion, complex decisions such as ERP selection requires a comprehensive methodology to identify your critical success factors, which can't be simply checklist items. When you are ready to identify your success factors, make sure you don't pay too much attention to rankings of the products. You might want to use it just to form the initial list that you plan to explore in deep detail, with a few backup options. While rankings could feel appealing to find top options for you, the best ERP options may not always be best for you. Thank you so much for watching this YouTube video. If you have any questions or comments, please post below. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions you might have. Also, if you would like to see a deeper video on any of the topics discussed, or perhaps one that is customized for your business process, please post and we'll be happy to record them for you. If you need any extra help with your ERP implementation, please feel free to reach out to me directly on my coordinates and I'll be more than happy to guide you. Also, please feel free to connect on LinkedIn or Twitter. We share really exciting content on digital transformation, ERP, and marketing automation through our social channels. Once you add us or follow, you will always be updated with the latest and greatest content. If you haven't subscribed to the channel already, please ensure you hit the bell button after subscribing so you are notified with our newer videos right away. Also, if you like this content, please help spread the word out on social channel or quote us on your blog post. Thanks again and see you around.